But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that goes on. I mean, when there's scarcity in the market, people will come in and make an opportunity out of it. Sometimes even the manufacturers themselves will take advantage of that. Even if you watch Tesla, who's been having sort of production stuff over historically, has been quietly raising their prices every 3 to 6 months. They keep cranking the prices up and up and up and up and up. Guess what? First time today I ever saw Tesla is giving a $4,000 rebate with every car you buy right now, because they're trying to make their December numbers, and they're what used to be a 6 to 12 month window lead time is now, which color would you like right now, so we have it for you right now. So this kind of stuff happens. You get scarcity in the market, just like if you were selling anything else in the world that people want more of. We're seeing that slowly diminishing.
And I think that's, now I understand we're a little over our time, so I don't want to go extend on this. This is a good conversation. I think if you could sum up virtually everything we've talked about tonight, the market, maybe some of the auctions and things, it really comes down to good old supply and demand, right? Whether we're talking about why are stick cars, why are stick Ferraris from the, have a 100% premium over a non-stick same car? Well, they didn't make a whole lot of them. A lot of people want them now, right? It's as simple as that, okay? And, so cars that they limit production of, cars that they have limited production, or just, you brought up the GT2. I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was, because I know a lot of you in here have air-cooled Porsches, there's not a day that goes by that I don't get a text or a phone call or an email or some kind of contact, an average of once a day, saying, hey, can you find me an air-cooled Porsche? And most of the time, they don't even know what kind of air-cooled Porsche they want. They just want an air-cooled Porsche, okay? Heirloom quality cars, they made a ton of them, but they're still unbelievably desirable. And people say, oh, they bubbled and the prices are up and they're down and they're this and they're that. And the fact is that there is so much demand for air-cooled Porsches that that's a really nice place to be, okay? Now, we can get into all of the variations of that in terms of, whether you do an RS, you do this or that. But not only that, when you even look past the air-cooled Porsches, when you start looking at these manual transmission GT cars, the GT2s, the GT3s, the GT3 RSs that are manual transmission, that they don't go and make any more of those. And I'm just picking out Porsche. But, that's another good example of, no, they're not air-cooled Porsches, but they've got Metzger engines, they've got all these other desirable things. But the important thing is that that's the end of the supercar stick. A Carrera GT is sort of the ultimate example of that, right? They're not making any more of those analog supercars, if you will, Carrera GTs, Ferrari F40s. We've seen the Ferrari F40. When I first started my dealership 10 years ago, I actually sold a couple of Ferrari F40s my first year, and I sold one of the most expensive Ferrari F40s that had ever been sold on the market. It's a long story, I can tell you if you're interested later, for about $750,000, $750,000. And now you can't even buy an F40 for less than, even a car with needs for less than, close to $2 million. Maybe 1.5, but certainly for a car you want to own, $2 million, and now we're seeing them sell for over $3 million, okay? Why? They made 1,200, 1,300 of those cars, all right? They made 1,500 Carrera GTs. A Carrera GT that was selling 2 years ago for $800,000, the same car is now selling for close to $2 million, okay? Why? The car didn't change, but the market didn't really change that much. But all of a sudden, people are realizing they're not making that kind of car anymore, and they never will. They will never make that kind of analog supercar again.
In Monterey this year, we had a friend of mine ordered one of the Gordon Murray cars, and they had on Thursday out
You know what
there.
we're talking about? The gentleman pardon me, that designed the McLaren F1, he's designed a lot of very, very, very famous cars
But
in history.
yeah, mainly the car that the McLaren F1 would be probably the anchor car of it. But nonetheless, well, he put together 2 cars, and he debuted the cars, one in full form and one in kind of a not quite functional form, but certainly in design. And because of the fact my friend had ordered one, we went for a little reception for the cars over there. And Gordon Murray did a little presentation on the car, and I'm going to mess up the specs, but he had a car that was under 2,000 pounds, had 700 horsepower, considered to be the best, the best engine of its kind, of its type ever built, and
Revs to 13,000
RPM, and a monster car. And what was interesting about it was that, he said, not only is this the best example of this engine in this configuration that has ever been made, unfortunately, I'm going to be the one that's going to be the last one to ever make it, because of the fact that everything else is no longer going to do it. And all of his cars, I think he was just selling 100.
And a manual transmission in the cars.
And a manual transmission in the cars. And they're all,
They were sold out.
They were actually sold out like within hours.
Yeah.
Started off.
And, that's just sort of the very, very end of that. And so, yes, Art?
I just want to say, we're gonna wind this down. I'd like Michael, if you could close this for a quick minute, and then after this, we're going to go back to the Founders Club area. We have more food, more drink, and we'll all hang out and chit chat some more.
Yeah, so I'll go and close it up. I mean, first of all, I want to thank Chip for coming all the way in from Florida for this.
It sounds good when he says it that way. But
Yeah, he's in for a driving rally this weekend, which he was when I was TR6 in. Unfortunately, it didn't make it.
I didn't want to be, if anybody watched the movie Gumball Rally ever in your life, and the Jaguar that they never got running, I was a little afraid I was going to be that. So
but I mean, as hopefully you've learned. I mean, I've spent now 9-10 years with Chip. We go to every auction we do. He's one of my closest friends. And I still don't tire of the stories that he tells. If I get some more wine, then I'll have him regale you guys if you want to stick around with some stories. But no, it's very, very special. I mean, the amount of knowledge that he has is those of you that have had him go and look at cars for you. And if you are going to look at cars, I mean, for those of you that don't know, you come to me and say, hey, Michael, you want me to go find whatever car for you. When I go and send out an inspector, this is who we send, okay? Because, I can go and tell you if the car's good if I go and look at it, but I have a limited area of expertise. Chip is everything. So we're very, very pleased to have had you here, Chip.
let's go eat, drink, and talk.
Let's go and eat, drink.
Let me thank you both.
Everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Basically, more Chip, less of me.